Genesis 4, the story with murder, lies, sex, and betrayal. Okay, so you thought that the Bible was a boring read? Nay, nay. See, this is why just discovering all these things in the Bible. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Anna Marie. If this is your first time here, I hope it's not, because we're already on Genesis 4. And I have all the other videos that you can binge on. So binge on, girls and guys. Well, today we're going to cover Genesis 4. And Genesis chapter 4 is when the first mention of sex was in the Bible. And this is regarding Adam and Eve. It doesn't mean that Adam and Eve had not had relations before, but it was intended to signify that this is when Adam and Eve had sexual relations, and then Cain was the result. And likely that they named him Cain because in the days of Genesis, Cain meant I've got him, or here he is. So this is why Adam and Eve named him, because they thought that he was going to be the Messiah, but he wasn't. After Cain was born, they had another child and they named him Abel. Soon Cain became like the produce guy, which means that he took care of the vegetation and the food and fruits and vegetables and all that. And then Abel was the one who tended the livestock. But in those days they didn't eat any meat. So one day Cain and Abel both had an offering to God, and they offered their Abel chose the firstborn of the best livestock that he had, and he offered that as a burnt offering to God. And at the same key, Cain also offered fruits and vegetables, and then he arranged it in beautiful, colorful arrangement for God. However, God did not favor Cain's offering. He was more inclined towards Abel's offering, because Abel offered an offering of life, because life represented faith, and faith in God. His offering was more favored by God. So then Cain was pissed. The Bible mentioned when Abel and Cain gave their offerings that Abel chose the choice livestock that he had, the firstborn livestock that he had. It was like perfect, pristine, pure. But Cain offered fruits and vegetables, which is much more colorful, much more artistic, if you ask me. But even if it was more artistic and more pleasing to the eye, more aesthetic to God, it was more important for God to get offerings that meant something. And the lifeblood of the livestock, I think it's a sheep that Abel offered to him, had more meaning than something that's grandeur and artistic. So then Cain became jealous, and he didn't understand why God preferred Abel's offering better than his, because he thinks that he's older and Abel is younger, and then his spread was way more colorful and more pleasing to the eyes. But God said to him, why would you let your jealousy take over you? You have to be careful with that. Why don't you just accept it and just move on? So God said, don't let your jealousy get the better of you, because what you're doing is you're opening yourself up to doing something evil in the heat of the moment, just like what he did. He murdered his brother. He actually lured him into the forest and killed him. Moreover, Cain's sin of murder murder stemmed from his spiritual pride and hypocrisy. Then God asked him, "Where is your brother, Cain?" And Cain was like, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Well, really? Because you're older and your brother is younger, you are your brother's keeper. That's what God was thinking. And he already knows what happened. He already knows that Cain killed his brother, but he was giving Cain the opportunity to fess up. He was like, I want to see if he's going to tell the truth. But Cain didn't tell the truth. And then God said, "Yes, your brother's blood is screaming for me from the ground. It is yelling out to me," because that signifies that when somebody's blood was shed and somebody is murdered, and it's not justly accounted for, because blood represents life. So in this case, Abel's blood was screaming, was yelling out to God and shouting out to God because he was unjustly killed. And so he was telling Cain, "I know what happened." And the plot thickens. So God said, "Well, since you have done that, I will curse you and I will send you away out of this place. And people will want to kill you, but I will put a mark on you so that no one kills you, but you will get punished. Pretty much, you are convicted. You're going to be punished for what you've done." Pretty much his punishment was worse than Adam, because Adam was having a hard time trying to get food from the earth, and double that is what Cain got, and he was cursed and he was sent away, and now he has to work twice as hard for what he has done, because that was his punishment from God. So Cain said, "Oh, the punishment is greater than what I can bear." Okay, in this situation, he was even trying to be rebellious against God. He wasn't sorry about what he did. He wasn't sorry about his sin. He was lamenting about his punishment. And do you know that people these days is the same thing? Instead of asking God to forgive them about their sins, what they've done, instead of doing that, they will double down and complain and moan about, "Oh, this is too much punishment for me," not having any accountability whatsoever. And there's just people there are people in the world that do that. Instead of just saying, "I'm sorry for my sin and I will never sin again," that's what they do. They just lament about their punishment instead of asking for forgiveness. And one of the signs of getting a new life in Christ is actually asking God to forgive them and to turn away from sin ever. God was even being so nice and not having him killed. I mean, he could have easily said, "I don't care, just whoever hears about this, that you murdered your own." I mean, even Adam could have killed him, but no, he even let him live, but he was cursed. So, I mean, what kind of quality of life would that have been for Cain anyway? And this is the beginning of Cain's descendants being the antagonist, being the antagonist of the earth today. So because there was barely any people that have the Spirit of God in them in those days, he got married to his sister. And in those days, there were because the population was very, very, very scant, they had to intermarry between sisters and brothers. But so he probably married his sister, and then he moved away to a place called Nod in the east of Eden. Then he built a city called Enoch, and this is where he also named his son Enoch. This is not the Enoch that wrote the book. This was the third from Adam, I guess. So he's not the one. The Enoch that walked with God was the seventh from Adam. But God did not prohibit intermarriages between families in those days, because the population was very few, and eventually he did. After Moses, he put down the law that says you cannot marry your sister, or because that's incestuous now. And so ever since then, it's prohibited that people would marry their own sisters. So from the descendants of Cain, they started having men who are doing several different types of work, and some are metal work, some were farmers, some were instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron. So one of the descendants later was Methuselah, who gave birth to, or not he gave birth, but had a son called Lamech. And Lamech means conqueror. He was the sixth from Adam on Cain's side, but the sixth from Seth. Okay, so after Abel died, Adam and Eve had another son named Seth, and sixth from Seth is Enoch, and sixth from Cain is Lamech, and they're opposites. Lamech was very arrogant, and then Enoch was the one who walked with God. And it seems that the humanity is starting to plummet, like it's starting to degenerate, because when Lamech killed someone, he was boastful about it, kind of had the same attitude as Cain did, and he told his wives that, oh, by the way, he was the first one who had polygamy, and he was the one that said, I killed someone. So when God cursed Cain, God said, if anybody strikes you or kills you, they will get punished 7 times. Cain will be avenged 7 times. But Lamech was so proud, and he said, if somebody killed Cain or hurt Cain, they will be avenged 7 times. If somebody kills me or hurts me, they will be avenged 77 times. I guess Lamech is a really bad guy, and he was just focused on his 2 wives, and just he was boastful about his ancestral rights. He was never again mentioned in the Bible, and nothing came out of his boasting, and he was never again heard from in the Bible. And then there was Seth. So Seth was born, and he was supposed to be the new Abel. He was replacing Abel because Abel was murdered. But Seth was going to be later on the descendant of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the promised deliverer for the world.